My family went to Disney World without me. More than 10 years ago, my dad and my sister spent nearly a year planning a family vacation trip to Disney World in the fall, and they informed me they wanted me to come along. At that time, I was finishing paying off my debt to the bank for the money I spent in college. I was afraid of falling into debt again if I decided to go on this trip, and I'm not a fan of flying or going on roller coaster rides. So, I told my sister and my dad that I would think about it, and I informed them not to make any decisions without my consent. As months went by, I watched my sister and my dad spend hours on the phone and on the computer booking and changing reservations rooms for a hotel and travel arrangements. Then, one night, my sister approached me to inform me that we weren't going to stay at a hotel but at some rental house or something to save money. My parents were going to get their own room, my sister and her husband were going to get their own room, my nephews were getting their own room, and I was going to sleep on a futon. I was shocked by this decision that my sister and my parents made without informing me at first. I was outraged by this decision, but I didn't say anything, so I let it go, and I quietly walked away. As the weeks went by, my family began to annoy me about Disney World and other plans to do in Florida. Then I finally decided I didn't want to spend money on a trip that I didn't want to go on. I did not want to waste time waiting in line to go on a 2-minute ride. I'm terrified of flying on a plane. I informed my father of my decision in mid-August that I was not going on the trip. However, my father turned the table on me that he had already booked my ticket for the airline and the passes for Disney World. Whether I like it or not, I was going on this trip with the family. Then I reached the boiling point and snapped at my father for once again, making a decision without informing me or asking for my consent. I yelled at him as I told him, "I am not going on this trip, and you're not getting a freaking penny from me." I was angry at my father and my sister for treating me like a child that I didn't have a word to say about this. I stormed out of the room and sent an angry text to my sister that I wasn't going on this trip. She wanted to know why, and I didn't respond. Then, over the next couple of weeks, my mother pleaded and begged me to change my mind, and my answer remains, no. Then, once again, my father informed me that he made another arrangement for the family trip in Florida, which made my blood boiled because he refused to take no from me. Once again, I snapped at him and told him, "Again, I am not going on this trip." Then I walked away. Later that day, sister came over for dinner with her family, and she confronted me to change my mind about not going to Florida. I felt my blood boiling again, and I screamed at her, "For the last time, I'm not going. All this money that Dad spent on this trip, he's not going to get it back. You know why. I told you at the beginning that I would consider it, but you two have been making decisions and plans without me. I am out." My sister and my parents never spoke to me about the trip ever again after that last confrontation. In the end, my family went to Disney World without me. They ended giving my ticket, my Disney World pass, and the futon to my neighbor, who was a good friend to my family. She was happy to go along in my place. When my family came back, they were miserable because my dad acted like a jerk to everyone on the entire trip. He complained endlessly. He hated waiting in line. His scooter was too slow to keep with everybody else. The food was overly expensive for him to afford. On the last day, my father acted like a spoiled child in front of everybody because their flight home kept on getting delayed due to the weather. I'm glad that I stayed home to relax and rest to avoid this nonsense. That was my kind of vacation. No stress. No anxiety. No waiting in line. It was a peace of mind that was all I ever wanted and needed. I feel I have changed. I reached the point where I felt broken and unable to do anything by myself, a very dangerous thought, and no one lent a hand to me. What most people don't understand is that it's really hard to ask for help. If someone asks for help, it means they're helpless. I don't believe anyone truly comprehends the feeling of being weak, broken, or having people avert their eyes from you and getting turned down by everyone, even your parents. Then I found someone, a broken little bird. She was everything I dreamed of in a girl. The way she made me feel was like there was nothing in the world I couldn't do. It was like I was dead and brought back to life. She became the center of my life. Caring for her, helping her stand, learning psychology and gynecology, and everything related to what she was going through. I wanted to marry her and still do. We met on Facebook and exchanged comments over a period of time, making posts and waiting for her to come online to see what I posted. When she did, she would write nice comments, and I would do the same for her. Her posts were unique, not the popular kind, so they needed a little push. Eventually, I decided it was enough. I couldn't wait for notifications from a website. I wanted something real. I sent her a message, but she didn't reply. So I waited for 24 hours, and just when I was about to give up, something told me maybe she didn't see it. So I commented on her post that I sent her a message, so she replied when she saw the comment, telling me that I don't usually reply to DMs, and I replied because I didn't want to upset me. I said, "Well, I have been standing in front of your profile for a month now." We laughed and talked for 2 hours, and then she said, "I'm going to close, and I won't reply here again." Wait, I said. "I'm not here just to chat." "Then what do you want?" she asked. "I want to get to know you in a serious way. I don't chat just to chat." She kept silent, so I said, "So we talk tomorrow?" And she replied, "Okay." And that was the start of a fictional story. She started telling me her life story right away. She was engaged, and 2 months before marriage, she got sick and went to the hospital for an operation. While she was in bed before the operation, her fiancé left her. Then, 6 months later, he came back, asking for forgiveness and wanting to get back with her. Of course, she said no, but he kept insisting until today, making her life hell. She didn't want to give me anything. No phone number, no last name, no address. I only had her Facebook. She didn't even accept friend requests on Facebook, and when she closed Facebook I can't reach her. She didn't even allow notification from Facebook or Messenger, so I couldn't send her messages until she opened it. We chatted and talked by voice only on her terms, and every time I pulled away, she would come back and pull me in again. It's a really weird story, but I kept going on the idea that she had trauma. She's a special case that most people ignore. Other than that, she was perfect. One thing I'm sure of is that she loved me, or at least she loved what I gave her. She kept me in a cage without a trace until recently, when she left a trail. I was pushing her to go to the doctor because she was sick, and when she agreed, I went there before her to surprise her and break this cycle of fear and trauma. But she didn't show up, and then she opened Messenger. It took her time to reply, so I asked, "Where are you?" She replied that she was at the doctor's office. I asked which doctor, and she said the one we talked about, but I was standing there and she was not there. I caught her lying to my face, and that shattered everything. Her word was the only thing holding this relationship together. Because I had nothing on her in real life, and the worst part is that she didn't even ask for forgiveness. So I kept arguing and saying hurtful things. Only how I feel right now because of what she did, and that I don't trust her anymore, and I'm skeptic about everything she said and is saying right now. So she said, "I don't want you to talk to me anymore, like I'm the bad guy. I feel like I have changed recently. Somehow, while with her, I don't care what people think of me anymore. I don't respect people anymore. I say what's on my mind, not caring if it hurts them or not. I have no filter. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. Lost hope, especially in love and relationship. And the worst part is that I have always been afraid of this side of me because I notice things most people don't. I can take advantage of anyone, use them, and manipulate them to get what I want. The only thing that was holding me back was that I didn't like it. I don't like lying. I don't like manipulating, hurting people in any way. I usually give everything in my power to anyone who asks for my help. I had never been in love until recently. It was the last resort and a goal, the last thread holding me back, a dream almost real. Everything is fictional, and everything has an end. You will wake up from it eventually. We are nothing but broken bones crawling in the shadow of the past.